Okay, I'm super hyped to be here today with someone who not only had a big influence on my own skating as I was growing up, but an absolute legend in skating, Enrique Lorenzo. He's been dropping parts for over 2 decades, featuring in videos like Rodney vs. Day One, rounds 1 and 2, skated for the biggest brands at the time like Action and World Industries, and he's been doing tricks 20 years ago that literally no one else is even doing today. So he's been really pushing the evolution of skating since the 90s in terms of technique, creativity, with so many tricks from every part that would just blow your mind. So thanks for coming on. Hyped to have you here.
Who's this Enrique Lorenzo? I just fell in love with him. You know, like, so many flowers. You know, like oh fuck. I want to meet him.
It's true, mate. It's true.
Is he single?
I can hook you up.
Nice. Instagram? What's his?
I met him on Tinder. I can give him the Tinder account.
Okay, yeah, you can share nowadays, right? Like you can like send to your friend. Check this profile.
So I always remember seeing your parts as a kid and just being like, what is this wizardry? You know, you were so ahead of the game in terms of tech skating. So did you have any process for learning new tricks or coming up with different tricks?
I mean, like I have like kind of like a process, and then like the behind the scenes type of thing. You know, if you want to call it like that, it's more or less just growing up. You know, I grew up like skating in Barcelona. I was 6 years old, you know, like, and then like I got more like into it when I was already 10. So on 86, you know, pretty much street skating, it was something new, you know, barely people, they were doing ollies just on flat. You know, if someone was doing a kickflip, it was like, oh my God, this is insane, you know, like. So the whole process, the whole progression of street skating, always doing something new, always like at the plaza, I see my friend doing like a kickflip, so they're like, oh fuck, that's awesome. Okay, I want to try to do a heel flip. You know, he does like kind of like that. You know, so it's kind of like one up type of thing. You know, like by pushing each other. If someone learns a trick, you're like, okay, I'm gonna learn this other thing. So always like doing something new. You know, and back then like. You wouldn't, I mean, like the access to a camera, you know, it was like so difficult, you know, it was like maybe like a high camera, you know, things like that with those tapes and all that. So people, they weren't filming. It's not like nowadays with the cell phone, you know. So you were learning tricks, you were doing every day like something new. And you don't want to keep on doing the same thing over and over, you know, it kind of gets boring. So the whole process, that I have is just like playing around with my skateboard. Sometimes even just like on little curves, you know, like just messing around, like dorking around, like, oh, I'm gonna try this thing, ha ha ha, hee hee, boom, like, oh fuck, you know what, like I'm gonna try now on a regular ledge, you know, and then all of a sudden it happens. For example, you know that switch crocs fakie kickflip at Pier 7. Mm-hmm. The whole story behind that thing, so you can get like more into context how everything. It works for me. I was talking with Lee Smith about like the Plan B video, you know, Colin McKay, he was doing like switch nose slides, fakie flips. He's like, why people is not doing these tricks anymore? You know, like they're really cool. Now everybody does them nowadays, right? So no one was doing that thing back then, you know, it was this period of time that people, they weren't doing those tricks. So anyway, we were both over there at Pier 7 talking about this thing. Like, okay, let's try. And he actually did it like on a couple of tries. He did it before I did. Yeah, no, the switch nose like fakie flip. Lee Smith, he did it before I did. And I asked him like, what about if we try like switch crocs? Said like, no, it's gonna work because you cannot like pop out of it. Like, let's just try. Why not? Like, I'm over it. So I tried, and second try, I flipped it perfect. And it was some guy filming, some other guy over there, and I said, hey, can you film this thing? Yeah, sure. First go is the one that is on the 411.
Right.
I didn't mean to film that trick or anything. We were just there, you know, just like I said, we were just like playing around, talking about old videos and tricks, and let's try this, let's try that, and it just happened. So so that's the whole process, just playing around, having fun. And it's true though that a couple of times, you know, like I always think about like variations of things that they've never been done, or things that I've never done, because to me that's the way, you know, I have more fun, you know, always trying something that I haven't done before. You know, my friend Mario, you know Mario, he's always asking me like, hey, let's film a switch crocs, no, switch flip, switch front crocs. Like, I've already done that, you know, like, I mean, like, if I get like really into it, probably I can do it again, you know, but I don't bother. I'd rather like try something new, you know, like keep on going forward, you know, I don't want to go backwards, you know, like whatever, but yeah, that's the whole process. Just have fun, you know, like try things, like weird things here and there, and all the time things happen.
Were there ever like tricks that you were like, okay, I really want to learn this trick, and you kind of put in the time to battle it, say for days and days and days until you actually got it on lock, or did you kind of just like, some days you try something and other days just kind of
the thing is like, I have like a list of tricks that I always wanted to do and that I tried to get on film, but once I tried a couple times, I mean like just for the day, you know, try to film it. Maybe I never went back and tried to film it again. If it didn't happen that time, it's like, whatever, I'm over it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it was fun. That's what I was saying, you know, like, so to me, the whole process is just to have fun. Because if everything gets like to the point that it's like, okay, no, I gotta go back. Some people, they do it. Some people, they're true professionals. I don't see myself as a professional because I feel like I don't work for those tricks. I don't work for it. It's true that, you know how it is filming, you know, like you go there and it's a battle, you know, like you're gonna try. I think maybe like 5-6 times, you know, this thing that actually like go and work on one trick on one spot, but it was something like really that kind of like, you know, kind of like that you almost landed, or you landed, you didn't roll away, or you get a wheel bite, something like that, but mostly all of the times it's just like it happens.
Interesting.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I feel like so many people like have certain tricks that they want to get and they go out and like battle it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like what you're saying is by just kind of going with the flow and having fun, you just like unlock tricks in a way that,
it happens. Yeah.
If you were like forcing it, you wouldn't unlock it.
It happens. Yeah. Nowadays, like. Just because like my knee injury, you know, like sometimes I'm not able to skate for like, maybe I skate like 2-3 days in a row, and maybe I'm not gonna be able to skate for a whole week. Then you know, if I'm trying to film something, then I gotta go back and, you know, because I cannot spend as many hours or as much time as I wanted to skating, and then I have to do this thing, you know, if I actually wanna get something on film.
Right.
You know, but
so you've kind of got to like pick and choose your sessions.
Yeah, and the tricks.
What did you do for me?
And basically, it's the meniscus, but they messed it up.
Shit.
You know, because I got knee surgery on both knees, both legs. So, but this one, that was like less. It was less than my left knee. They messed it up literally, and for the past maybe 8 years. That I haven't been like 100%.
Oh shit.
Never.
So they operated on it and just messed up the operation?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And I've been fucked since then.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
you've been doing rehab and
every now and then, yeah. For the past 6 months I've been taking it really serious because it was hurting so much. Even sitting down like this, you know, like I'll be on it's not like there's something that bothers you, it's like it's actual pain. To the point that some days it's like so unbearable that you get like a headache.
Right.
You know? I don't like taking like painkillers, nothing like that. So
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been like going hard on the rehab for like 6 months?
No, the thing like for the past 6 months I've been taking it more serious because of the pain.
So kind of like half going hard.
So the short story long, like I didn't skate for about 4 months because I hurt myself. So I lost a lot of muscle mass. Right. So then when I got back, you know, I got like all these rehab like workouts, you know, like a diet to gain some weight. Yeah. So I did it for the first 3 weeks. I was like, oh my God, this thing, it feels perfect. I mean, like if nothing ever happened, I was like tripping.
After you, like worked out for the
okay, it was so good. They're like, fuck, so I was getting like a maniac. Bam, 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 bam. I was trying to feel like a couple of tricks for S, you know, because I don't write for them, you know, but they're really kind, you know, they're always helping me out. And when they do some projects, they always ask me like, hey, will you want to get something for it? You're like, hey, why not? You know, shit, you know, like give back, you know, like. So I was getting like a maniac every day, like just filming. and I wasn't doing, and I stopped doing the whole rehab thing. So what happened? So what happened? That I fucked it up again, you know.
No.
So now I didn't skate for like another like 2 months and a half, almost 3 months, and now I just started again 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna start skating probably next week.
All right, take it easy this
No,
time.
no. I mean, like, I'm gonna keep on doing the whole rehab
You
stuff,
better,
and
you better. I'm
then
gonna come in and check every month and be like,
so
"You
yeah,
should do
yeah,
this."
yeah. So then, yeah, eventually, like, I'll get something for this project.
It's so normal as well that like once you feel good, then you like stop doing the rehab. But it's, I mean,
Yeah.
what I found for me is I've kind of just got to keep working out if I want to feel good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're like,
You have to. It's really funny though, because for this one, it's like nothing ever happened,
right,
and this one it was way worse the injury than this one.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you do anything for that one or?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just did the whole rehab thing that I supposed to do, and they did a really good job. You know, like the surgery and stuff. This guy was amazing, but this other guy, like, he fucked up. I don't know what he did to it, but fuck. Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
but whatever. You know, like, I still try. I mean, like, I do the best I can with what I have.
Right. Well, I was gonna ask, like, based on your style, like, it looks like, you know, you've really put time to like perfect tricks, get them looking solid, like get them real unlocked. But
I don't
seems
know,
like,
man.
did you ever like kind of battle to really work on tricks and get them looking how you wanted to, or was it kind of just
To
Just
make it
skating,
look
like-
to make it look on a certain way, I never done that. Never. The only thing that I try to always do is just like, if I'm filming, I try to go like as fast as I can for that one trick.
right? Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
another mistake that a lot of people do too. You know, like, for some tricks, the speed is key.
Yeah,
You know, because if you go like too fast or if you go too slow, you're not gonna be able to do it. Or maybe you could, you know, but it's gonna be a lot crazier. You know, like if you go
right.
faster, you know, they're gonna be like, oh my god, this thing is
yeah,
kinda
that's true. That
insane.
sometimes like going faster definitely helps with certain tricks.
So
like slide better or
yeah,
whatever it might be. Yeah.
but yeah, besides that, no, never. I never like thought about, you know, like I gotta do it like this, like that to make it
Right.
look on a certain way.
What about
No.
consistency? Like to get consistent with
Oh
it?
yeah,
You ever-
I used to be really consistent, but just because like I do these kind of like warm up routines, you know,
Right.
like I do, like, for example, if I'm skating on flat ground, I just do, you know, like, for example, 10 kick flips, 10 360 kick flips,
Oh,
10,
really?
10 of each tricks that I know how to do on flat.
Yeah.
And then on ledges, they're like kind of like a little bit more basic, you know, like 50-50 snow slides, tail slides, and then from there is everything. Everything else there is just variations.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So for flat tricks, you would go through like certain tricks 10 times each, and then for ledge tricks.
Yeah, on ledge tricks, I mean, like, if I'm warming out, just basics, you know,
Right,
like
like
50-50, snow
50,
slides,
whatever.
tail slides,
Yeah.
a couple blunt slides, notch grinds, like fibers,
Fair.
things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Because
Nice.
then, yeah, everything else is just like, yeah, variations of a trick.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I always do the same as well. Every time I go skate, I like go through the basics, and then like on the
Yeah.
ledge, like front 50, back 50,
Yeah.
front 50, back 50, front nose grind, crook, and kind of like work through those basics. And I find that helps so much with then like how the session goes.
Haha.
Or at least I get kind of like so much more focused and feeling like I can skate well on that day, and then that influences the rest of the session.
You know, like, skateboarding is a big part of skateboarding, and the way you skate is like how you feel that day.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
if you're
exactly.
sad, if you're happy, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you doing more or less or better or
Yeah.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to do a lot with how you're feeling that one day or at that moment.
Okay. In your Instagram bio,
Huh?
you've got athlete
Huh?
question mark.
I mean,
So
'cause
go into that.
am I? I don't know.
Are you an athlete? What do you think about skaters being athletes? Like, do you,
I
do you
mean,
think they are, or-
it wasn't inevitable, you
Right.
know, because at the end of the day, you're like doing some exercise, you know, and all of this is a progression, you know, because when I started skating, it was more as if you were playing with a yo-yo, you know, or with a frisbee. You know, it wasn't really like considered as a sport. It was more like something you do just for fun, as a toy. and then it became this thing that then it turned out from a toy to kind of like a lifestyle. The people they were living through it, and then, you know, people before even I started skating, you know, like older skateboarders, you know, Lance Mount, Caballero, and those guys, Steve Alba, you know, they were making a living, you know, so and then it's as a lifestyle, you know, so you're living because you're skating, you know, you're getting money, you're getting you know, some income and all that. And then from there, of course, after all these years, you know, like as they grow, you know, and then like regular public, you know, like pedestrians, they notice like, oh fuck, look at these guys all sweating, you know, like they're actually like working out, you know, it's like a workout, so it's a sport, you know, and then now the Olympics and all that, it's just like a progression, you know. Some people they like it, they don't like it, but it's not inevitable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to be part of it, fine, you know, then you got to do contests, you don't, just skate for fun, you know. There's a lot of people that they play soccer in the street that probably they're better than Messi.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, it might be that one guy in Madagascar, you know, like he's like killing it, but no one is ever gonna know from him, you know, because he's playing in the streets and his neighborhood, and he just wants to be like that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you consider yourself an athlete?
I don't know. If they take me to the Olympics, then I'll consider. I don't know. I mean, like, it's funny because a lot of people, they talking about like, oh, my career, you know, it's like, fuck it. It's not like I study, you know, like if I really like put like so much into it, you know, it's just something happened. I always say it, you know, like I win the lottery, you know, so it's like, fuck. But yeah, I guess on a way or on some context, you know, like, how you want to define it, you know, like, yeah, it's a career, it's a sport, it's up to everybody, you know, like whatever they want to think of or whatever they. But to me, it's just like, it's just funny. That's why I put it there, you know, athlete, like kind of like, am I don't know.
Yeah. No, I fully understand what you're saying, yeah, because like on one hand we are, but then on the other hand we're still just like playing with a little wooden toy, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to put it into like one category.
Because I don't see myself as a regular athlete if I was an athlete or if I was doing some contest or even if I was in the Olympics, you know. I don't train, you know, even when I was going to contest, I don't train because, I'm going to go to this contest, I'm going to train, I'm going to go to the skate park and just work on lines or work on tricks. People, they do. Yeah. You know, especially nowadays, you know, they just go and they train and they know what's going to score what, and they're going to go for those tricks, you know.
They know they're going to score well, yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting, and it's amazing, the crazy tricks that they do, like SLS and all that is insane, like the level, and amazing. But I never done like that, you know, in the sense of like, I'm going to train, you know what I mean? So
your method was just like, I'm just going to go out and have fun?
Yeah,
figure something out?
That's why, you know, like as an athlete, you know, I guess like you're going to train, you know, because you're working for that competition or just to be on certain shape or on certain level. Or, so, no, I've never done it. So that's why it's funny to me. That's why I put that question mark.
So let's say you're in those situations that we've all been in when you're trying to trick, you're scared of, like you roll it multiple times and you're just like really struggling to commit or to like actually try the trick.
Yes.
Like, did you have any kind of techniques or processes that would help you in these situations?
I lie to myself.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I mean, like, let's say that I'm skating a rail. I don't skate big rails. I skate small rails, you know, like maybe tops, like maybe like an 8-stair rail. Mm-hmm. To me, more than that, it's no fun. So if I don't have fun, like, what am I gonna do? Something that I'm gonna be scared of, you know? But still, like, it takes some commitment. Even sometimes on ledges, you know, like some new tricks on ledges, they kind of like weird, like, oh my god, this thing is it's kind of scary, you know? Because you start thinking like, what can go wrong, you know?
Right.
So I start like just like throwing my board, like testing it, you know, like, okay, if I throw my board like this, how is it gonna go? It's getting like this, like that, like maybe like put one foot in there, you know, like do it a couple times, then go like to a little curb, you know, like, and then do it on a curb, then going back to the thing, looking at it, and then kind of lying to myself, okay, this thing is the exact same thing as doing it as this little curb, you know. So I'm just gonna go really give it like 100%, you know, and see how actually feels, you know. And once I see like, oh fuck, I can actually do it, like fuck yeah, hey, let's do it, you know. Like then you get all hype, you know. Even though like sometimes some stuff that I've done, then I went back years after and I'm looking at it like, what the fuck was I thinking, you know. Like, I would never do this thing ever again, you know. Like this thing is crazy, you know. Like
That's
yeah,
never happened to me in many trips.
he's like,
I'm
never
gonna do that
never again. You know, like fuck yeah.
Interesting. So you would like break the trick down and kind of work through it like piece by piece, kind of
Yeah.
like adding the pieces on top until you were then like ready to commit to it fully
Yeah.
on the thing you were trying to.
Like testing it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like seeing like, okay, is it gonna work, or how's it feeling,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Would you ever like go through, say if you're trying to do a trick on a handrail, would you like go through other tricks, like more basic tricks on the same spot?
Some people
You're
do.
the kind of guy who doesn't ollie the set before and you just fucking fly your trick down first try.
You know, it's funny because if I'm skating in the streets and I want to do a trick, let's say like on a rail, right? Maybe I do like a couple board slides, but that's it. I don't go and do the whole repertoire or whatever, you know, like I'm gonna do a Smith, I'm gonna do a leaf slide, I'm gonna do a nose slide, I'm gonna do a tail slide.
You do like one or two that were like to test it. It's kind of like see speed.
Depends what I'm gonna do, you know, like okay, you know, see how steep it is, I'm gonna do a board slide, a nose slide, a 50-50, that's it.
Right, yeah.
Really basics. Sometimes not even that, you know, like. But then if I'm skating on a park, you know, I remember the old Berrics, it was like this little tiny rail, I think it was like a 5 or 6 stair. Over there I was doing all of the tricks. Like say, nollie from board slides, switchback tails, switchback Smiths, back Smiths, like nollie cross, nollie.
And that process of like lying to yourself, was there anything, like how did you do that?
Kind of like tricking my head, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, like everything is in here, it's in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're looking on a rail, you know, that kind of like the top part is all the way up to your waist. If you put your board in your last step, let's say like you put it like this, and then you have the rail over here on the side, you see the nose, it's like, oh my God, the distance between the nose and the rail is just this. It's like, this is like a little curve, just like this. You know, if I just if I go a little faster, you know, it's gonna be even like this.
Right.
So it's like, it's no way I'm gonna bail doing like an ollie crux on a little curve like this, because I have it on lock, you know, so let's do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so you like spend the time to actually like analyze the spot and kind of like rationalize to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can actually, this isn't as scary as it looked from the first perception of the spot.
It's just weird, you know, like, it depends the spot, but yeah, basically is, I look at the rail or the ledge, you know, if it's like a ledge that it goes up some stairs, you know, just the height of the ledge, not the drop, but just where I'm getting on.
Yeah.
You know, like I think like on a spot that is similar to that thing.
Right.
You know, like, okay,
yeah.
this ledge is just like the one in uni. You know, like I want to do this trick.
Yeah.
Fuck, I do it in uni all the time. You know, like fuck, I can do it over here. You know,
Yeah,
of course
okay,
it's
okay,
scary.
okay,
You know,
okay.
but once you get it, a couple of times, you're like, oh, that's it. You know, and then
Right.
like that fear, you know, it goes away.
Yeah.
You know, you still get that adrenaline rush. You know, the pump.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on it. You know, but it's not like scary as like I don't know, like some guys, you know, that I see like punching on themselves and like going through all these things, like, dude, fuck, just wait until you slam, you know.
Yeah. Don't do yourself now. Wait till you slam.
Yourself before, like, you know, you're gonna eat shit for sure, you know.
Right. Right.
I mean, like everybody else's process is different, but
Yeah.
it's I
so
think I
interesting,
kind of
yeah.
lie to my head. Sometimes I tell myself like, okay, this is nothing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and still I go for it, you know. Yeah, that's the thing. And then another thing is really important to me for this is going and skating these spots with the right people.
Right.
You know, not necessarily because they're gonna skate the spot. Maybe they don't even skate rails, but they're just your friends. They're there. They're supporting you. They know you. you know. So just having them there and having fun, you know, like talking and doing this and that, you know, it's kind of like wilding out, like, you know what, like, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then you go, you do you shit, bam, you're like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Just go do it again. Okay, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna try it again. Bam, again, like, oh. You know, but yeah.
So like making sure the vibes are good at the session.
Yes.
Like when the vibes are good, then you get more hyped to like try the tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think with skating, like you will ever just get rid of fear, or will it always be a part of skating?
No, it's always gonna be something there because it's always something new to try. Sometimes I'm more scared of skating like doing like a new ledge trick than doing something on a rail, for example.
Right.
Not like I'm skating like huge rails or anything like that, you know, because I cannot. I will never compare myself to anybody, not even if he is skating like a 2-stair rail. You know what I mean? But I'm saying like on the sense of like people that they skate like these 15 or these 20-stair rails, you know, what they go through it is totally different than I go through it. Maybe they're scared of doing like, I don't know, like a frontside shoves, back nose on a ledge with no end, more than doing like a kickflip back lip down a 20. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, for them it's like
totally.
it's different. So there's always something there that is gonna keep you a little bit like, oops.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I totally agree with like having the process of trying to break something down that you're scared of. Like I've had it as well, so many tricks that like I'm scared of something, and I'll be like, okay, what's like a piece of this trick that I'm not scared of? And maybe that's like just locking in and then jumping out, or like trying to slide it a little bit and jumping out, but like trying to feel the spot a little bit to then kind of make it feel less scary in my head, if that makes sense.
A friend of mine used to tell me all the time, it's two different things. One is I'm gonna try, another thing is like I'm gonna do. When you know what I mean?
Like what Yoda said.
Because I remember like this one time we was getting this gap behind Sans, and he was saying, why everybody's saying like I'm gonna try? If you're gonna try, you're not gonna do it. You gotta say like I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna try it, because if you're gonna try, you're just gonna throw your board. You're not gonna do it, you know.
Yeah,
I
love that.
I remember like we were like probably like 15 at the time, you know, and that thing kind of got stuck in my head. It's kind of like one of those things that now they use, you know, like the self-talk.
Yeah.
You know, like one thing is I'm gonna try, I'm gonna do it. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more try. No, I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna do it. You know.
Do you ever like do any self-talk for yourself in those situations to like get yourself to commit?
Yeah, sometimes I did, but going back to the thing, you know, like telling myself like, okay, you know, this is nothing. You know, I can do it. I know I can do it. You know, I just gotta be like focused. You know, like into this thing. Because I have like this problem that a lot of times I shit just like doing flagrant tricks because I don't even look at my board. Because after all these years skating, you skate more as by instinct.
100%. Yeah.
You know, so everything is so interiorized. You know, everything is like so in here that you don't even pay attention. You're just moving your foot around and then things happen. You know, because. And then you eat shit, you know, and you gotta keep on telling myself, you know, like focus, concentrate, you know, because I find myself just like jumping, you know.
Okay, so I was also going to ask, like, you've had a lot of long battles with different tricks, but you've said that like that hasn't actually happened too many times.
Yes, no, not many times.
I was going to ask, like, how have you like stayed motivated before in those long battles to like keep going?
To be honest, when I go and I try to film a trick just one day, I cannot go right the next day. I cannot do it. A long break, like maybe like like 3 or 4 weeks, even longer, because it gets boring. And then like I feel like I go there, they're like, I don't even feel like trying, you know, like I already tried this thing, you know, it was fun that one day, and then I have to try it again. I almost landed. I guess I'm lazy. You know, because I get to the point that maybe I landed and I didn't roll away. And in my head, I already done it. It's like, okay, I can do this thing, you know, like, okay, it's not like, it's not kind of like a challenge for me anymore. Mm-hmm. It doesn't motivate me to do it. You know, it's like, fuck, I gotta do it. I'm lazy, I'm sorry. You know, like, it's a lot of tricks that nobody ever gonna see. I could make like an almost land tricks that people are gonna be, oh my
Please.
god, what the
Do
fuck?
it. Do it. I want to see that.
Like
There's people these days now that can like edit it to make it look like you landed it too. So
Right.
you release a new part. Of all
Okay,
these
fuck.
airlines.
AI, right?
Exactly.
AI. I can learn everything nowadays.
Enrique Lorenzo, ex ChatGPT.
So yeah, it's not fun. No, it takes a lot for me to be like, oh fuck yeah, okay, I'm gonna try it again.
So if you were going to give some advice to kids who want to get real good at skating, what would you say? What would be some of like the keys to progression for you?
The key is progression. Is same as everything else. You're just gonna be consistent. Don't think like, okay, I'm gonna skate on Monday, 8 hours. And then I'm not gonna skate until next Monday, another 8 hours. It's better to skate like 1 hour Monday, another hour on Tuesday, another hour on Wednesday. It's to be consistent. And it's not about how many hours. You can put like 3 hours each day, or you can put like 30 minutes each day. You know, the difference is gonna be like so small because it's the way that our brain works. So once you understand how your brain works, you're gonna be, oh fuck, okay, I can do it like this, I can do it like that, I can do it like kind of like when you how you say like visualize. And it's really interesting. They did this experiment on a university that they got like a group of 30 people, so they divided like 10 people each group, like throwing free throws, right?
Yeah.
So for the whole month, everybody was like doing free throws the same. Then after a month, then they told them, okay, for the next 2 months, like this group is gonna keep on come and do the free throws. The second group, they're just gonna visualize that they're doing free throws, but they gotta do it like for whatever, you know, like I forgot, like 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. And then the third group is like, you guys not gonna do nothing at all, zero. Just go, don't even think about it, about basketball. So they got everybody together after a couple of months, and then they do these tests, right? The first group that was doing like the free throws, he improved, you know, they got better. The second group that they were just visualizing, they also got better.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And the third group, they got worse. So just by visualizing, you know, like you can still, you know, kind of like skate on your mind. Doesn't happen to you that sometimes I'm driving, I'm looking on a bridge and it's like this transition, like, oh my God, if I was a vampire, probably I can do, you know, like a Spider-Man, you know, like I'll be like skating this. I see spots everywhere, you know. I mean, it's
100%,
something that my head can stop.
I think like after you've been skating a certain amount of time, like we're just stuck with seeing spots everywhere. Like changes how you see them.
Right?
Totally,
Yeah, like architecture and any other corner or any other like weird thing.
Totally. So do you use visualization a lot then with skating? Have you done that before with a lot of tricks?
I've done it without knowing it, you know, since I was a kid, you know, like imagining, you know, like even in school, you know, like I get like the book, you know, I fold the pages of the book and just with my fingers, I didn't have like a fingerboard, just with my fingers, you know, like in class, you know, like, oh,
he just like, why is he stroking his books?
like, yeah, it's like, it's like, damn, this guy, what is he doing? Dirty the boogers, you know, probably it's like sticking boogers on the other page or something. Yeah. So for kids that they want to get really good, just like be consistent, and that's pretty much it. And if you actually want to be professional, you know, just take it serious, you know, as serious as these other guys, you know, go to contests, go to a bunch of events, you know, like, and that's pretty much it. And then just try to be humble, you know, because a lot of kids nowadays, they give them a couple of things here and there from skate shops, and all of a sudden they think that they're superstars, and they talk to you like I don't know, like, I'm like, oh my God, like,
well, I got my sticker pack, you know, don't
you're
think
like,
to me.
Jesus, like, okay, good luck, buddy. You know, don't compare yourself with anybody unless he's better than you. So you have like someone to look up for, because you're looking up, you're not looking down, you know, don't look down, you know, like, these guys are better than this. Don't do that shit, you know, because at some moment on point, okay, maybe you're going to succeed, go all the way up, be on top, but in the way down, you're going to meet the same people again, you know, and then if you're a fucking asshole, you know, like, in the way up, in the way down, you're still gonna be an asshole, and nobody's gonna want to know nothing from you.
Yeah. So it's like put your energy into the direction that you want to go, as opposed to like the other people and put your energy into hating.
Bottom line,
Actually.
be consistent, have fun, be respectful, take it really serious, and that's pretty much it. Nothing can go wrong.
So you skated a lot of Rodney back in the day, right?
Yeah. Not as much as I wanted to, because he was skating a bunch at night by himself, because he was working with a world.
In the night, no? On his own.
Yeah. But it's because he was working at the office and doing a bunch of stuff. So it's like, okay, after work I'm gonna go and skate this parking lot or this garage. Or
did you ever go on any of those like midnight missions?
I did a few.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were both doing stuff that like pretty much no one was doing at that time.
No, all of those guys, all of these world guys, they were doing a bunch of stuff. Those guys, they were doing crazy stuff that they weren't even filming, and I was like, dude, why didn't you film this? No, whatever. Like, oh my God, I see like crazy tricks go down that they will never see in the light, obviously, and probably like people, they're not doing it nowadays. I remember like one time, Keenan, recently, like I put something on stories that was on Fairfax High. They put like a school bench on top of the stairs. He did switchback nose and shove it behind him, and then jumping off the stairs. So I saw him doing this thing on a schoolyard without stairs, just on the bench. He did switchback nose grind and fakey showy heel flip, like perfect, like bam, like going super fast. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like film this thing. And he's like, nah, whatever, let's go lunch. Like,
really?
Fuck.
Wow, it's so interesting how different it was back in the days in terms of filming tricks. Now like people don't skate unless they're being filmed.
Yeah, because now everybody has a cell phone.
Yeah.
And before they even do a trick, they're already with their phones. I remember like skating at USC or Lockwood on the weekends. I see like all these crazy guys like doing crazy things on the regular basis. It's like insane.
So you guys were all kind of just like influencing each other and like feeding off each other. And
I think that they were influencing more me than I was to them, because they're like, what is this Spanish dirtbag over here? what is he doing here? Like, okay, sorry, I'm in the way. No, they were really nice. They were always really nice to me. They were really welcome me, like to everything. They were really cool.
So you're 48, right? You said?
Yeah.
You've been skating 42 years.
Yes.
That's crazy, man. Has anything changed about how you skate now, or like how frequently you skate now in comparison to back when you were younger?
The only thing that has changed is that now I got a work in here. I'm taking care of the whole Concrete Visionary and then Encore distribution. Besides that, everything else is the same. I mean, like I'm not skating as many hours as I wanted to, but everything else is the same. Yeah, pretty much.
Right. How much would you skate back in the days on an average day?
I was in the streets all day, and then like it's weird because I was sharing sessions, because some people, for example, when I was living in Los Angeles, they skate like really early in the morning. For example, Guy used to come pick me up really early in the morning, and maybe like at 9:30. We were already skating, with Mark or Bibo, and then they're done maybe like around like noon or maybe like 1 p.m. So go home, chill, then go to another session with some other guys until maybe like 6, and then I go down to Costa Mesa and I get into another session maybe like from 9 until midnight, and then go back home, and then the next day do the same thing. Or maybe.
How old were you when you were doing that?
When I went there, first time I was 16. Then when I turned pro, I think it was 18, 19. Mm-hmm. Altogether, I stayed there for 13 years. If it wasn't because my knee injury, this thing, I'll be skating like a fucking maniac. Probably I'll close the 8 o'clock and I'll go skate.
Fair.
Yeah. I'm looking forward, to get better now because of the whole re-up, and then like I'm gonna be able to to spend more time on my board. That's what I want to do.
And what's some final little things you would say to skaters that just want to go pro or anything, any kind of like random little bits of advice that we haven't covered?
Barcelona is another place, right? Because I see a lot of people that they come to Barcelona thinking that they're gonna make it on skateboarding. It's really hard. Over here we have the spots. It's a really good scene. You know, it's really easy as a city to get around, and then you have like all of the spots, like beautiful dream spots, but there's no industry. So if you want to make it, it'll be better for you go to the US, because over there is pretty much all of the industry, or you become like a crazy like skate park guy, you know, to go to these events, to contests, and then make it through contests.
Right,
you know,
right.
because over here, so yeah, just you're welcome to come here, but I mean, like, I see a lot of people that they come here with the expectation, with the idea that, okay, Barcelona is the place where I'm gonna get discovered or whatever, you know, like if you're in Hollywood and you're gonna become an actor, you know, imagine you wanna become an actor and you go to Madrid. Like, good luck, buddy. You know, you want to be in Hollywood in the movies, you're going to go to Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the first thing. And then besides that, just what I said before, you know, take it seriously, but not too serious to the point that you stress yourself out. You know, it's not worth it. Just have fun, be consistent. To learn a trick, think about the one thing is going to take you another, and then another thing that people they don't realize is that's something that we didn't talk about is for example, to learn a trick, not necessarily you gotta understand, you gotta find the trick on how to do that trick. So you gotta break it down. You gotta understand, like, okay, if I do it like this, like that, my body's gonna go this way, it's gonna go the other way. You know, it's gonna flip like this, like that. And then sometimes, that's something that I've done a bunch of times, that maybe I try a trick, like, for example, I was saying, right, I warm up, I do like 10 times whatever trick I know how to do on flat ground, but then I also try tricks that I've never done before. You know, and maybe the first day it's not gonna happen. I'm not even gonna get to flip it. It's gonna go there, and maybe I'm gonna sag myself or here on my shin. Yeah. It's gonna go like that for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, fuck, boom, I landed. So take your time, you know, like, I'm not gonna say enjoy the process, because sucks, I don't enjoy the process. You know, I would love to land it right away. But you know, that's something that you should understand and you should do. Just be patient, you know, focus, and that's it. You know, put all of these things together, and yeah.
Is there any other things that you would do to like figure out the tricks to tricks?
Maybe I think like on the way the board is flipping, you know, it's like, okay, so this thing is similar to this other trick. Like if I'm rolling, like, let's say like fakie, you know, for example, like a regular 5 on a ledge, right? I'm goofy, so regular 5 will be like this, right? The approach. So fakie 5 is the exact same thing, but like going fakie. Yeah. But it's like the same pop. It's almost the same angle too to get on it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So like looking for comparisons between different tricks and stuff and seeing like how they line up. And
for example, like we're talking about switch crocs. Switch crocs, right? But if you do like kind of like a Sasuke grind, you know, it's kind of like the same thing. So sometimes to learn like for example, a ledge trick, not necessarily you need to do it like sliding or grinding. You just gotta learn how to lock it. So you go to the ledge and then you just do like, for example, fakie ollie tail. Then you go like on a little bit of angle, right? To do like fakie ollie like switch front nose, or fakie ollie like switch nose. Right. You know, like, so you change a little bit the angle and a little bit of speed, just so you learn how to lock it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then from there, you just like a little bit more speed and then change a little bit the angle, you know? Right. So you're gonna learn faster like that than not going like straight for it, like, okay, I'm gonna go and do like a nose blown on the middle, like you're gonna eat shit a bunch of times. You know, if you're smart, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna be like, okay, you know, like what's the closest trick to do like a regular nose blown on the middle? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do first a couple of lip slides, because you go over the ledge. You know what I'm saying? Totally. If not, like, believe me. Oh, and then you can so like kind of do like, okay, so lip slide, kind of like it goes like the nose. So, okay, I'm gonna do a couple nose grinds. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna try to go like this, and instead of like going all the way in, I'm just gonna slide in, kind of like a nose grind, but kind of like in like this, so you can do like a booger slide. Even if you slide, instead of sliding like this, you're gonna slide like this, like across the ledge instead of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And then little by little.
Yeah, man, interesting. So breaking it down into pieces, and pieces you can Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sick. Nice. Cool, man. That's really useful. One thing that I was going to ask. You skate at 7.6, no?
Yeah, 763.
Dude, why?
I always
How-
skated that. I mean, like 763, 775, but no.
Right. What is it about like the smaller boards that you like?
It's just, I mean, skating always that, you know, for the past like 25 years, you know.
Right.
Look, when I started skating, I remember it was like a Jason Jesse board. It was a mini board, so supposedly it was
really.
smaller than the regular board, and it was already like a 9.5. 9.5. You know, I think this thing is not even 9.5.
Nah, that's like an
You
8,
know,
like 8.5.
a regular board it was like a 10, 1, 25, 10,
Crazy.
2. Yeah, so that was
So it
like,
went from like wide to thin, and now it's gone
Yeah.
back to wide again.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, for a second, it felt it was kind of like a trend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then it became kind of like standard.
Right.
You know, like now everybody, the smallest, like what, 8.1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I realized, for example, like you see these guys like sitting the Mega Ram. They skate these boards just for the Mega Ram. Even the trucks, they're like these big.
Yeah,
They don't even skate them like convert. It's just like for that obstacle, that's it.
Right.
So every body has a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, if you're skating big stuff like big gaps, big stairs, big rails, you want to have like a bigger and wider board.
Yeah.
Because you have like more, I don't know, like support or more area where to land. You want to feel more like comfortable and secure, you know, on your board, not your toes, they're hanging. Because sometimes with my board, for example, it's so small that you do like a flag run trick and your foot is on your board, it's perfect on your board.
Yeah.
But just because of your toes, they're hanging a little bit of the board, you feel like, oh my God, that was so sketchy.
Right.
But from the outside, you know, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so about the boards is that, you know, and then what it works for me is just those boards. I just skate like ledges, flat ground, like small sets of stairs, mani pads.
Yeah.
I don't skate bigger rails than a 7.
Right.
Nowadays, probably not even the 5. So why do I need a bigger board for, you know?
Right.
To
Yeah.
me,
No, it makes sense.
It's
It makes
what
sense.
it
Makes
works.
sense. So, any projects that you're working on now?
Projects.
Got Great Tomorrow clothing? Anything?
I mean, like, we've been doing Great Tomorrow since 2013.
Right.
Yeah, so projects, nothing really, you know, like just these little things that once in a while they come up, you know, with us, for example.
Yeah.
You know, they were asking me about, 4 months ago, that they wanted to do this thing with the guys from Barcelona. Oh, you want to get a trick? Yeah, sure, why not? And I was actually filming something over here at Magba for them, and that's when I hurt myself.
Oh shit.
So when I get better, hopefully I still have some time, you know, and I would like to have at least that one trick in there, because I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
you like it, maybe you don't. I don't know.
And what's the website for Great Tomorrow?
It's greattomorrowclothing.com.
Okay, cool.
It's long, you know. It's long.
Okay, I'll shorten the link for people. And you do like clothes and hats and boards as well?
No boards.
Just
No, just clothes. Yeah, it's not like a skateboard related brand. You know, it started more like as a urban brand. You know,
Right.
like skateboarders really they don't buy clothes. You know, no, it's true. They don't buy much clothes. And at first, it was more focused into girls, because girls they buy clothes more than guys. And now we did a couple of things, kind of like looking more into like skateboarding, you know, but it's not like 100% like a skateboard brand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I like some of the designs, man, like the Sans parallel.
Oh yeah, for example, we did that thing, but that's more like kind of like as a tribute, you know, like and it's like all spots too, you know, the main 4 spots.
Yeah. Well, that was amazing, man. That was really interesting. I learned a lot, definitely, and I'm sure like people are going to be hyped on that shit.
We'll see in the comments.
Exactly. We'll see the likes. I'll let you know how many likes.
Oh, these likes.
Any final words, dude?
Nothing really, you know, like it was a pleasure, you know. Hopefully that this thing maybe reach out to some people that they can, you know, like use these things, you know, like for themselves, you know, like to progress or who knows, you know, as
Yeah.
long as it's something the positive, you know,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I'm sure people are going to find it useful for sure. Yeah,
great.
man. And legend. It's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sweet. And thank you as well, little one. Yeah.